Hey Marcus, after playing 2 games away from home, how excited are you about finally playing here at the Bryce?
Can't wait. Can't wait to hear that sandstone. It's going to be a great atmosphere.
Mark's last 2 games in the second half, you guys going pretty good. How much of that can you attribute to the guys blocking for you?
Oh, that's all it is. You know, receivers blocking downfield. You know, if you watch the film, you see that. You know, Ace blocking downfield, Alshon blocking downfield, and of course the front 5. So, I mean, that's all it is. I mean, I'm just hitting the hole.
Marcus, I don't know how much you know about Navy, but they rushed for 400 yards a game. Have you had a chance to kind of see that? What do you think about their style they're running? Could you flourish in an offensive system like that?
I mean, you know, I've seen them play. You know, they run the ball every play, of course. And, I mean, I like to catch the ball a little bit more. So, I mean, I really wouldn't like that kind of offense, but you know, they run it pretty good. I mean, they don't make too many mistakes. You know, they're like fundamentally sound. So we're gonna have to play fundamentally sound too.
Marcus, a question about some comments you made after the game the other night. I would never begin to critique your style of running, but you talked about leaving some yards on the field.
Yeah.
Watching the film, is that sometimes something where you've got maybe one guy to beat and you tend to cut back inside as opposed to out? It seems like maybe sometimes you have more room on the outside, but you're such a north-south runner, I think that you want to just get north and south. Is that sometimes what you're talking about?
Yeah, and you know, I could have broke a little bit more tackles, I think. And you know, when the offensive line, you know, blocked for 5, I'm supposed to get 7. And, you know, some runs I was just getting 5. And, I mean, I see that on film, and that's, you know, things I got to correct.
Coach Spurrier was talking about, I guess, you know, the problems you guys have had through the first 2 weeks, despite the 2 wins. Is this the week to get it right? I mean, is that the way you guys look at it with a couple of SEC opponents coming in to town afterwards?
I think if we have a good week of practice, it will be. And, you know, last night was pretty good. The intensity was high. And we just got to keep that up throughout the whole week. You know, keep the intensity up in practice, you know, because that's where it starts. I mean, this could be the week, you know, we put it all together.
Coach Marcus, me after the game, Coach Spurrier talked about how you struggled a little bit for the first 3 quarters, but you had 83 yards, you ended up with 176. Do you think, what have I got to do around here to get a little praise?
Nah, I mean, you know, I got, you know, we kind of got stuffed, you know, their first half. And, you know, they was playing, you know, 7 in the box, you know, and it was hard to run the ball, but, you know, we finally got into our groove and started running the ball.
Were you surprised at your numbers when you looked at the final stat sheet?
I didn't know I didn't know I had that many yards, you know, but I was thinking like 130, 140, but, I mean, I did have a couple long runs, so it added up pretty hard.
Seems like in your time here, you've been about that close to just busting off one big run, you know, like a 60-yard touchdown run. As good as you've played, is that something that you think about, that just going, man, you know, what is it gonna take to really break off a long one here?
Yeah, I mean, the guys here are faster. You know, I could do it in high school, but I mean, you know, that's just me. You know, I gotta get faster.
All right, Marcus. One big thing that's said a lot about you is you're not necessarily the biggest guy who's gonna run over people, but you're smart. You find your lanes and everything. What is it about you? Is it in your blood? Is it practice over and over? Is it watching film? What makes you just able to see the open areas and take your runs?
Of course, you know, reps and practice. You know, I'm going against, you know, the best defense in America, you know, every day in practice. And of course, you know, watching film. You know, you got to study what the linebackers do, study what the D-line does. I mean, because, you know, when you're not, you know, C.J. Spiller, and you don't have all that quickness and all that speed, you got to be smart. You got to bounce back with something. So, I mean, that's one thing. You know, that's the main thing I work at. You know, just knowing what the defense is doing.
uniforms up here. There's a new study out today by a sports management professor and the National College Players Association saying that the fair market value of a top-tier football player, Division I, is over $100,000, and that you guys should get more than just the scholarship money. You should get the full cost of attendance and be able to make endorsement deals, that kind of thing, because some athletes are actually living below the poverty level by the time they pay the things they don't get paid for. Any thoughts on that? Do you guys ever talk about how much money you're bringing in from the school and yet you're having to scrimp and save to be able to afford a pizza or, you know, whatever things that you need?
I mean, of course, we talk about it. We talk about it all the time. I mean, you know, we should get all this, but I mean, it's the rules. You know, we got to follow the rules as long as we're here. And I mean, if we did get the money, you know, it should be for football, basketball, you know, every sport, I think.
Marcus, I know you're going to tell me you try to approach each game the same, but from a mental perspective, does it help this team maybe that you haven't played your best game, especially offensively, when you move from a Georgia to a Navy?
No doubt. And we know as a whole, we haven't played our best game. And I mean, that, like I said, it starts in practice, you know, keeping the intensity up. You know, we're going to try to put it all together this week and, you know, play our best game as an offense.
Aside from increasing your speed, is there anything you're working on personally that will actually increase the force that you can generate to be able to break more tackles? Because I know that there's some arguments like being said that, oh, well, you're not necessarily making plays because you're not breaking those tackles, just from like things that I've read.
I mean, you know, just got to work on my pad leverage. You know, that's inside, you know, at practice and everything. You know, I'm just trying to get better, you know, in all the phases.
Marcus, right here. Have you had a chance to talk to Sean Carson yet? And if so, what kind of encouragement did you give him?
I talk to him every day, and I just tell him, you know, let God handle it. He'll be fine. I mean, I know he's struggling right now, and I talk to him every day. We just got out of class a minute ago. You know, head down. You know, just gotta tell him to keep his head up. You know, he'll be fine. He got, you know, whole 3 more years. You know, he play baseball and football. I mean, he'll be fine when he gets back. He's a strong kid. You know, you can see when you look at him. And, I mean, ACL shouldn't hold him down that long.
Marcus, during the summer, maybe the past few weeks, have you had any fans coming up to you and warning you about Navy and talking to you about the 1984 game?
Yeah, I've heard it a couple times. You know, last time, you know, we lost. Don't want that to happen.
Are you getting tired of hearing it?
I mean, it's all over the place, kind of.
Two more. Marcus, what kind of rapport are you having with your offensive line? How much do you guys communicate before game, during the game about what you guys are trying to accomplish?
I mean, you know, we go out there on the first drive, you know, and we see what they're playing up front. You know, we see what their backers are doing. You know, we tell the coach, and we make adjustments. We do that as a whole, and we always do that. You know, just try to make adjustments, you know, to whatever they're doing in the game.
Marcus, talking about some of the things you hear from fans about that 84 game. I mean, it's a little crazy because, I mean, you weren't even born when that game took place, and yet they're saying, don't do what happened way back then. I mean, these fans don't forget about stuff, do they?
They don't. I mean, I can understand that. You know, we don't want to lose.